The apocalypse has turned the whole planet into a desert wasteland, but we got to strap machine guns to the hoods of our cars. So how bad is it really? Welcome to Thunder Road Vendetta. Choose one side of the starting rear tile, either 1A or 1B, and set it with that face up on one end of your playing space. Shuffle the rest of the road tiles and put them all in a stack. Draw the top two and connect them to the starting tile in a line like so. Put all the hazard tokens face down, shuffle them up so you don't know what's what, and put one on each hazard space on the starting road tiles. Leave the rest in a draw pile nearby. On the first road tile, only place hazard tokens on the spaces for your player count. Put all the damage tokens face down, shuffle them up, and form a draw pile for those. Give each player a matching set of 3 cars, 3 dashboards, 4 movement dice, a command board, and a chopper. Set up your dashboards in a nice row, and put your cars in the starting area next to the first road tile. Everybody rolls all their movement dice and leaves the results exactly as they are for the first round. Whoever rolled the lowest total starts as first player. If there's a tie for lowest, everybody re-rolls until there's not. First player then rolls the road die and puts it near the board where everybody can see it. Place the Rex, FX dice, and finish line somewhere you can find them when you need them, and you're ready to get started. Your turn is comprised of 4 steps. On the first step, you'll assign one of your as-yet unused movement dice to an operable car that you haven't already moved this round, placing that die in the center of that car's dashboard. The number on the die determines how many spaces the car's gonna move later on in the turn. If you've already moved all your operable cars this round, assign a movement die to the coast space on one of them instead. The 2 pips on the dashboard next to the coast space are there to remind you can only make a car coast twice per round. If you have any operable cars that haven't moved this round, you can't coast yet. A car is operable as long as it doesn't have 2 damage tokens under the dashboard. Cars can take damage from hazards or when they get shot. We'll talk about both those things later on, but anytime your car takes damage, you'll draw a damage token, flip it over, resolve its effect as described on the back page of the rulebook, then put that token face down under one of those 2 damage slots. Once a car has 2 damage tokens, it's inoperable. Turn the car 180 degrees and flip the dashboard to the inoperable side to remind you. An inoperable car can't take any additional damage, but suffice it to say you'll probably want to repair it and get it operable again ASAP. Once per round, after you've assigned a movement die to a car, you can assign another one to one of the commands on your command board. The numbers on the command spaces indicate what result that die needs to have in order to use that command. The airstrike command lets you plop your chopper down on any empty space on the board. A space is empty if it has no vehicles or tokens on it. Then, as long as it's not the first round of the game, you get to make your chopper shoot its guns. But we'll talk about shooting in a bit. The nitro command requires a roll of 1, 2, or 3, and it lets you increase the number of moves the car you assigned a movement die to this turn by that many spaces. Note that when you move your car, you always have to use its full movement, so don't give it a nitro boost unless you can make use of the whole thing. The drift command requires a 3, 4, or 5 on the die, and it lets your car ghost its way through the first space it enters with another road vehicle without slamming into it, as long as your movement doesn't end on that space. The repair command can only be used on a 6, but it'll let you pull a damage token off one of your cars and shuffle it back into the draw pile. This can make an inoperable car operable again. Next, you'll move your car a number of spaces equal to the number on the movement die assigned to it. The first space of movement for each car is onto one of the spaces on the edge of the board. Every space after that has to be in what the rulebook calls the front arc from the current space. Basically, the car's always got to be moving forward. Before you start driving all over the place, though, you might want to know about what happens in different types of spaces on the road. Muddy spaces cost 2 moves to enter. You can still push your way into one of these if you've only got one space of movement left for the turn, though. Impassable spaces have a double yellow border around the outside. If your car ever enters one of these, it's immediately eliminated. Take the car off the board, shuffle its damage tokens back into the draw pile, and put the dashboard back in the box. If a car enters a space with another road vehicle, it forfeits all of its remaining movement as it slams into that other car. Stack your car on top of the one that was already in the space, then roll the slam die and the direction die. The slam die tells you which of the two cars in the stack is gonna move, and the direction die tells you where it's moving. If one car is bigger than the other one, whether it's operable or not, the owner of that car can ask for one reroll of both dice. Then move the applicable car one space in the direction indicated. Your car can pass through a space with a chopper, but if a road vehicle ever ends a turn in the same space as a chopper, it's eliminated from the game. Same thing if a car ever moves off the side or rear edge of the board. If a car ever enters a space with a hazard token, flip that token face up and resolve it immediately. A wreck token is immediately replaced with a wreck mini. The car that ran into it gets stacked on top of it, and the owner rolls for a slam. Wrecks are always treated like inoperable small cars. They'll resolve hazard tokens they'll land on, and result in a slam whenever another car enters the same space. Wrecks are eliminated if they ever take any damage. A mine token immediately causes damage to the car that revealed it. The mine comes off the board as soon as it's revealed. When you reveal an oil slick token, immediately roll the direction die and move your car one space in that direction. This doesn't cost a space of movement, and if you still have movement remaining, you continue moving after slipping on the oil. For the rest of the game, the space this oil slick token is in is treated as a regular road space. Some hazard tokens will turn a space into a muddy space, which we've already talked about, and some of them are just decoys that end up being regular road spaces. Anytime a car takes damage, it loses all its remaining movement for the turn. But unless that, a slam, or some other effect specifically says your car loses its movement, you have to spend all your movement for the turn. After you've finished moving, if your car started on a road space and only moved through road spaces, you have the option of taking the road die bonus, gaining more moves based on the number on the road die. Your car can pass through spaces that aren't road spaces during this bonus movement, but if you opt to take it, you'll have to use the whole amount. If your move is a coast, you just move the car one space. No road die bonus available when you're coasting, but you can still shoot. Speaking of which, let's finally cover shooting. You'll have to skip this step in the first round, but for the rest of the game, after you've finished all the other steps, the car you've moved, or your chopper if you use the airstrike command, can shoot at a road vehicle that's in one of the 3 spaces in the front arc. You can't shoot choppers, but you can shoot at wrecks, another player's car, or even your own if you're feeling real feisty. If you've got more than one target to choose from, you'll have to pick just one. Roll the shooting die and check to see if the size you rolled matches the size of the target. If it does, that vehicle takes a damage token. After your turn, slide the movement die on the dashboard of the car you moved into the end turn space. The player to your left goes next. Once everybody's taken 3 turns, pass the road die one player to the left. They'll be the first player next round, which starts now, with everybody rolling all their movement dice. If all of a player's vehicles are either inoperable or eliminated, that player is out of the game. Then, add the finish line to the front edge of the board. When a car moves off the front edge of the board after one of the other players is out, the game ends, and the owner of that car is the winner. If a car moves off the front edge of the board before the finish line's been added, though, some big stuff happens before the game continues. First, eliminate all the cars that are still on the rear road tile. Discard all the hazard tokens on that tile and give any choppers on it back to their respective players. Then remove the rear tile from the board, flip it to the other side, and put it on the bottom of the draw pile. Slide the other 2 tiles on the board over to make room for a new front road tile, which you'll draw from the top of the stack. Place new hazard tokens on the new road tile, and don't shuffle the discarded ones until you run out of new ones. Then, if the card that went off the edge still has movement, it continues moving. In a 2-player game, if nobody's been knocked out by the time the 5th road tile gets added to the board, add that finish line and race to either get one of your cards there first or just kill your opponent. And that's everything you need to know to start playing Thunder Road Vendetta. Hey, thanks for checking out BNB Tabletop, the home of the Board and Barrel, a live show every Sunday night at 5 p.m. Pacific where me and my buddies play board games. If you haven't seen it, you're missing out. We like to keep things interactive with our Buff and Nerf house rules that allow you to influence the course of the game, and virtual bingo cards that could win you a free board game of your own. So do us a favor, do yourself a favor. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and ding that notification bell. Thanks again for stopping by. We'll see you Sunday night.